Hey folks, this is Phoenix Aurelius here, just giving you a lab update for all of the accomplishments that we finished over here at the Phoenix Aurelius Research Academy in July. The first thing was that we were actually delayed. We had a ton of flooding and there was some wall construction and lots of other things. It's still not fully brought to a resolve, but that slowed us down a lot because we weren't able to work during a good portion of the time where there could have been dust or debris or other things in our laboratory. Of course, having super strict standards of cleanliness is our main priority. So even though we had a huge production schedule, we ended up slowing that down and just, taking things as is. And I'm sure that we'll be able to make up that time again in the future. Sometimes we just kick ass and get a lot of stuff done, and sometimes there are drawbacks, and that's just the way of life. So that was one of the big things. The second big thing that's huge was that I was actually appointed as the U.S. Executive Director of the American Nutritional Medical Association. And this is enormous because they work with Spagyric homeopathy, which is already included in many different pharmacopoeias around the world. Many of the countries in Europe, definitely India, even the United States, Canada, all of these have already included spagyric homeopathics into the pharmacopoeias that can be applied. Now, there are a limited number of those, and the techniques are not the same as Paracelsian Spagyria, but it's a huge gateway because now I can write papers and we can begin performing actual clinical studies. Not just case studies like I've been doing here at the Research Academy, but actual case studies with medical doctors and NDs and doctors of electrohomeopathy and so many other things to test the efficacy of Spagyria as an entire corpus of medicine all the way across the board. So it's going to be a huge, huge opportunity for us to push our work out and to be able to get the work of Paracelsus and also my work out into the world in a bigger way that can hopefully have enormous ramifications for future generations. A good portion of this month, about at least a week of it, was spent, well, and even more than that in preparation, was spent going out to Colorado and doing some ritual exorcisms for a client. In fact, two of my clients. And they were wildly successful. Both of them felt some major changes during the time that we were doing this. Of course, with a ritual exorcism, it is one of the very last resorts in terms of, have you tried to fix everything else possible to address the en spirituale? And if you have, and there are still some issues, then this is where ritual exorcism is absolutely necessary. And even sometimes there are quote unquote mystery cases where a person's sick and they're not even showing in spirituale actually. And that's when it's absolutely necessary to ask, are there any interdimensional entities that could possibly be affecting this person? And if the answer is yes, then it's, are there any interdimensional entities affecting this person? And if that's yes, then it's time for a ritual exorcism. So yeah, that was a really crazy experience. Something that I have a whole lot of experience from multiple different methodologies and schools of thought from my past, and being able to reincorporate that for a couple of clients who really needed it and had no other option was really awesome. And since then, actually, I have gotten back into this work very, very deeply, in fact, and have figured out multiple different ways of performing exorcisms, possibly even remotely, through some new technologies and magical practices that I've been involved with. So I think that this is really, really critical and key for people to understand, because in the modern age, so many people just dismiss it and poo-poo it and throw it out, but it is a legitimate cause of disease. It was known well back in the 1530s, it is well known way before that, and now it needs to be incorporated into our modern pharmacopoeia today as well. So yeah, also we worked on multiple different custom formulations for clients. Again, I am not able to tell you exactly what I'm formulating, but I can tell you that we are formulating for Dr. Dirk Jacobson. And we have a new formulation, a Spagyric of Strophanthus seed tincture, which will be released by Dr. Tom Cowan here very soon. We just got the labels today and bottles a few days ago, and that will be hitting his shelves on Human Heart, Cosmic Heart, or I guess it's called drtomcowan.com now. So that's a really awesome thing. Strophanthus, he's written very extensively about that, and to have the opportunity to work with that herb, especially in the quantities that we are working with it, is absolutely awesome. If you don't know about it, I strongly suggest you read his book, Human Heart, Cosmic Heart, or read any of the other essays, articles, etc. that he has written about Strophanthus seed. But it specifically helps to break up the lactic acid that causes so many different cardiovascular diseases, and drastically ameliorates, possibly even eliminates, the chances for somebody, if used regularly, to have myocardial infarction, which would basically be, by any other term, heart attacks. I'm not making any sort of claims there, medical claims, so don't get your panties in an uproar. I said may, it may. There's a lot of studies that still need to be done on this in order to validate that data, but the experience from users who do use it would say those things. Also, huge thing, we did an entire web and actual Spagyric apothecary revamp on all of our labels. So you may remember a couple of months ago, we started this project. It was very slow going. We weren't able to get around to it for a wide number of reasons. Tons of other projects were going on, but we were able to complete that this month. So the entire Spagyric apothecary that we have here now has every different herb with its common name that we use here in the laboratory, also its scientific Latin name, and then lastly, if it's included in the TCM pharmacopoeia or Materia Medica, then it also has that. So now we have hundreds of items that are available for TCM practitioners. And in fact, they're available for anybody. You don't need to have a license in order to access most of these herbs. But if you want them compounded into formulations, you will have to have a license. And we'll be offering that really soon. That option is not quite available, but you could always just schedule a product formulation consultation with me if you are a TCM practitioner and interested in having me custom formulate or compound various TCM formulas for you in Spagyric form. So that's absolutely huge. It's awesome. All of the labels, to the best of my knowledge, are now updated on the website as well. So every time that you check out one of the products, you will probably see like, oh man, I'm used to buying nettle leaf or whatever. And when you go there, you'll see nettle leaf on the top, or I think it's Urtica dioica is its scientific name. And then you'll see its pinyin name, or technically its TCM name in pinyin underneath that. So really, really cool. I'm super excited about that. That opens up a whole world of possibilities, especially for TCM practitioners. And then lastly, we finished several Spagyric products that we started in May. I think there were 10 or more of them that were finished. We added even more Spagyric salts to some of those products as well. So we have a wide rotation right now of materials that are coming up or already ready to be filtered, and that we just haven't gotten around to, that will soon hit the shelves in the coming months. And of course, we release 5 every month. So if you haven't already, be sure to check out the page that we mention all of that on our website, because you can stay up to date on what our future releases are going to be. I think at this moment, we release them out to like October or November. We list the releases that will be coming up out to those months so far. It's usually like 90 to 120 days in advance is what we shoot for. So that's super cool, super excited about that. I have tons of other projects that are going on. Things are really taking off here at the laboratory. Everything's good. We're enjoying these last legs of summer. Hope you guys are too. And I'll catch you next time for August lab report.